first question to you is when you think about your younger self, what part of that early identity still drives you or you see yourself today?
Well, of course, I think we're formed by our experiences, by our environment, and by the people we are associated with.
Yeah.
So, of course, the people I'm associated with are my biggest drivers, and that's my parents. My
Hmm.
dad was an army officer, so he was very strict.
Yeah.
My mother's family started the first Jamaican government
Yeah.
in Jamaica, so they were very political.
Yeah.
So, therefore, from a discipline point of view, ever since I was young, I was always very disciplined. I was brought up on the army base in Jamaica. So I was taught to believe that yes, you may have talent, but hard work and effort and commitment is what you need more than anything else.
Yeah.
So as much as obstacles will be thrown in your way, you have to overcome those obstacles by hard work and effort. Resilience was also very important. And so I suppose that really I was formed by my parents.
Yeah. Like you said, your father was military, part of the military, and in Jamaica, obviously in Jamaica, it's completely different to the UK, to Britain. How was football for you in Jamaica, and how did it stem for you?
Well, as much as you said he was a colonel in the Jamaican army, so but of course he went to, I don't know if you know what Sandhurst is, because that's when Jamaica was a colony. So
Yeah.
like lots of Indians, my dad was a British army officer, if you like, because of course
Okay.
Jamaica was a colony at that time.
Yeah.
So he went to Sandhurst in England in the 50s as a 20-year-old, where Winston Churchill and all the great army officers went. So he had a British upbringing, if you like.
Yeah.
And of course, the British upbringing is in the army, which is once again discipline, determination, resilience. So of course, he boxed for Sandhurst, heavyweight boxing champion, played cricket,
Okay.
rugby. My dad played football for Jamaica. As much
Okay.
as he's
Yeah.
an army officer, there's no professional football, but he was good enough to play for the national team.
Hmm.
So I grew up playing football. Jamaica, very much like India,
Yeah.
cricket you would think is the number one sport.
Yeah.
But in the Caribbean islands like Antigua and Barbados, it is. But for me, ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, I was playing football. So at 11
Okay.
years old in Jamaica, I was playing for the under 16s. When I came
Okay.
to England, I went to a rugby school in London, St Marylebone
Yeah.
Grammar School, but I played football for a youth club. And when I played football for that youth club, my dad said you have to train hard, you've got to work hard, had to not go out, had to go extra training.
Hmm.
Then I got offered a football scholarship to Howard University because
Yeah.
my dad only got sent to England for 4 years. It's a 4 year posting as a military attaché, as a diplomatic posting.
Okay.
And when I was 17, I'm now going to go back to Jamaica, but all Jamaicans go to America. So I got offered a football scholarship to Howard University in
Mhm.
Washington, D.C. And 3 months before that happened, I was just playing football for my local club, Sudbury Court in North
Yeah.
London, West London. And a taxi driver drove by. He thought I was a decent player. He told a scout. I didn't even know the scout came to watch me. Scout
Okay.
came to watch me. They said, "Well, we know you're going to go to Howard University. I'm 17, still at school. You're going to go to Howard University in 3 months when you go back to Jamaica. But just come and train at Watford with the youth team." And in that 3 months of training with Watford with the youth team, they offered me a contract, and that's why I stayed. So my whole family
Yeah.
went back, and I just stayed to play football. So I
Okay.
always grew up playing football, and I always knew I
Yeah.
had talent. As I said, at 11, I'm 12. I played for the under 16s.
Yeah.
But I never thought I would be given the opportunity because there's no professional football in Jamaica.
Hmm.
I'm coming to England for 4 years. After 4 years, I'm going to America. I'll get a degree. I'll get a football scholarship. But in the 1979, there's no football in America, so I'm on a
Yeah.
football scholarship. But then all of a sudden, I'm given this opportunity to become a professional footballer. So I played for Watford.
Yeah.
So then at 17, within 2 months, I'm in the first team. And then within 1 year, I'm playing for England.
It's crazy.
And I didn't even have my English passport. I had a Jamaican passport. My dad's a diplomat. So I had a
Yeah.
Jamaican passport for 18 months of playing for England. They didn't even ask me because I was British. And I suppose the rest is history. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is that we're not in control of the opportunity that's going to come our way, but we're
Hmm.
in control in our preparation leading up to it. And
Yeah.
my preparation was never to be a professional footballer. But my dad said, I'll tell you how my dad brought me up. My sisters used to swim for Jamaica, and I
Okay.
used to swim competitively. From Jamaica, we used to go and swim in international tournaments in Miami when I was
Hmm.
8, 9, 10. My sisters swam for Jamaica, like on the 11s, on the 10s, on the 16s. But so I was swimming in Miami at 8 years old. Miami's
Hmm.
only an hour from Jamaica in these international meets. We had to train every day in the national stadium pool in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So we had to go walk. It was only half a mile, so you had to walk across the training. But every now and again, I would stop to play football and not go to training. I'm 10 years old, and I stopped
Okay.
to play football instead of going to training with my friends. And my dad said to me, if you're not going to go to swimming training every day, give up swimming. Because if you're not going to do something with commitment,
100%.
discipline, so therefore, as a footballer, I was never preparing to be a professional footballer at 11,
Ah,
12,
okay.
13, 14, 15, 16. But my dad said, if you're going to play football and that's what you want to do, not professionally, as I said, because there's no professional football in Jamaica. I
Hmm.
think I'm going back to Jamaica. I'm going to get a football scholarship to Howard and then become a banker or a lawyer or whatever. But my
Hmm.
dad said, you whatever you decide to do, not professionally, because swimming wasn't a profession, but you do it with authenticity, with commitment. So my
Mhm.
preparation,
Yeah.
then when I was given the opportunity to become a professional footballer, I was able to take it because I was prepared for it. I wasn't preparing for it in terms of I'm going to be a professional footballer, but because my dad said, whatever you do, even as a hobby, you do it with authenticity, with determination. Then when the chance came for me to be a professional footballer, if I then started to think, oh, I've got a chance to be a professional footballer, let me be disciplined now. Let me start to train. Let me start to go, not go out. That would have been too
Mhm.
late.
Yeah.
So it's just my dad brought me up in the way that whatever you're going to do, you do it correctly.
100% with the commitment.
That's why
Um,
I say to my kids now, you know, when you take an exam, you are at university. You don't pass your exam on the day you take it. You pass the exam in the preparation leading
yeah, in
up
the
to it.
preparation,
Because
100%.
of course, when you just open the paper and you know the answers, not because you're brilliant, it's because you have the repetition,
Yeah.
studying. Football is the same in terms of not just football, but in terms of training, in terms of eating right, in terms of going to bed, that kind of thing. So, and that was me growing up, not to be a professional footballer, but just to
Hmm.
be a person.
Okay, yeah. That's fascinating that you actually started as swimming before football.
Well, I played cricket. I came to England and I played cricket at Lords for the under 13s. I played
Okay.
rugby for London schools because my school didn't play football. My school only played rugby.
Oh,
So
okay.
I played rugby. You know, I was number 12. I was a centre. So, you know, I was a good sportsman. But once again, it's all about your attitude towards it and the hard work you put into it. So just to give a better example of that, in Jamaica, 11, 12 years old, playing for the under 15s, 16s, as an attacking player as I am, I then go to a club called Stowe Boys Club in Paddington to
Hmm.
play football when I came to England, rugby school. But these boys had been together for a year. I've come from Jamaica. I've just joined them. They were a fantastic boys club. We won the National Five-a-side Championship. When I got there, the team had already been playing for a year. So when you're playing in a team that's winning 5 and 6 and 7-0 every week,
Yeah.
nobody wants to be a defender
Yeah.
because, of course, nobody wants to score goals. So when
Yeah.
I got to that team, my dad said to me, "Listen, you're going to play as a centre back for this team because no one wants to be a defender." I was never a centre back, but my
Okay.
dad said the first responsibility is to the team, not to yourself. Never mind how good you think you are, the team is the most important thing. So
Hmm.
from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I played as a centre back, no other position for the team. I was never a centre back, but of course, it's a boys' team playing in a local league. You know, I'm the best player, but no one wants to be a defender. So my dad said the responsibility to the team. So up until 16, I played as a centre back. Then when I went to the men's team, Sudbury Court, this is 5 months before I went to Watford, you're playing now a men's league with 6'5" men. I'm not going to play as a centre back. I went to my
Well, of
normal
course not.
position on
Yeah.
the left wing, and that's where Watford saw me. So the
Hmm.
point I'm making is that as well as being brought up in the right way individually, also my dad said to me the most responsible thing you can do and the most important thing is the team, not yourself. So you play for the team, no matter what, how good you think you are as an individual. The team is the most important thing.
Yeah. Um, so from that, would you say your dad was the biggest influence on your career, your personal life, and how you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then, of course, I went to Watford with Graham
Yeah.
Taylor. And Graham Taylor, as a 17-year-old, was fantastic for young players because he was exactly the same. Because Watford came from the fourth division, third division, second division, top division,
Up to the division.
which
Yeah.
is the Premier League, in 5 years.
Yeah. It was crazy.
One promoter after the other without spending any money. I mean, now you can look at a team like Wrexham, but they've got these owners who are spending millions. So
Yeah.
Watford didn't do that. So when our first year in the top division, we finished second in the league to Liverpool. Man
Yeah.
United finished third.
Yeah.
75% of 80% of those players who finished second came from the fourth division, all the way with Watford. And they had me, Steve Terry, Nigel Callahan, who were young 18, 19-year-old players, but not superstar players. They came through the youth system. So
Hmm.
how can you have a team for the second in the league with all players from the fourth division? Because Graham Taylor, very much like my dad, spoke about the togetherness, the humility, the belief. Yes, you have to be decent players, but you don't have to be the best players. As long as you have the right determination, the right attitude, the right commitment, you can be successful. So from my dad, from I was born until I'm 17, then Graham Taylor, 17 to 23,
Yeah.
they were the biggest influence on my football career, both of them, yeah.
Oh, crazy. Obviously, we were saying that you moved from Jamaica at such a raw age and 12 years old, and then obviously making a professional debut after 5 years. How did you find adapting to the British system of football and education and the personal life?
But in Jamaica, the education is the same. We do O levels, as it was called, and GCSEs. So the British system of education is the same as it is here.
Hmm.
Of course, it was cold, but I had a very comfortable life because being a diplomat son, we lived in Highgate and Golders Green. We lived in Mayfair, so my dad had a nice car, so we were privileged, very
Okay.
much like we were in Jamaica. So it's not as if we came here, as immigrants and we didn't have any money, we lived in a council house. That was not my experience. So,
Hmm.
and plus the fact that I really just felt I'm coming here to have a lovely 4 year holiday because I didn't
Okay.
expect to stay. We knew after 4 years I'm going to go back to Jamaica. I'm going to go to America. My family are quite an elite family in Jamaica, so they all go to America. They all got good jobs. So my
Hmm.
life was always going to be comfortable
Hmm.
until 6 months before I'm going to go back to my life in Jamaica. Watford said, "Well, stay and play." And of course, once you then become a professional footballer, your life becomes even more comfortable because now you are a privileged person because you're a professional footballer
Yeah.
playing in England and playing for England. So as much as there was lots of racism back then, I was privileged, and I, were like water for ducks
Hmm.
back to me. So it didn't affect me at all.